Joining us now to talk about the president's plan, the economy, and American competitiveness is New York Times columnist Tom Friedman. Tom's latest piece is The Biden Boom. The president has a chance to supercharge the economy. And Tom, welcome. It's good to see you.
Good to be with you guys.
So I think the headline and what we just read about your latest piece is enough to kind of see where you come down on this. Biden says that this is an investment in the future, and it sounds like you agree with that.
Yeah, I think if it's done right, Becky, it can absolutely be a great and necessary investment in the future. Particularly if we keep it tightly focused in two ways, Beck. The first is let's focus on roads, rural broadband, ports, airports, the things that are actually the enabling tools of the economy. That would be the first thing. The second is on making sure that we use the government in the right way here, which is that the government enable the private sector, especially in the energy area, and where basically the government uses its buying power to buy power to basically bring technologies down the cost volume curve. And then you let the private sector develop these technologies with the right performance standards. It's that combination that works best. We got to get each side doing the right thing. My one concern of the plan, and this was what my column was about yesterday, is that it's got to be a plan to enable capitalism. If you want to have a green economy, there's only one way you can have a truly green economy, and that's if you have scale. And the only thing that gives you scale is the market, the private sector driving these things forward. So if each side plays their right role, I think this has great potential.
Hey, Tom, I think what you just laid out is something that most people would agree with, particularly the idea that we have got to spend on bridges, on roads, on ports, on airports, and on broadband. We've been talking about that since the show started at 6 a.m. This is a long overdue investment, something that we've been hearing about for years and years, something that has never happened. But I think people would take issue with whether this bill does everything that you just described, whether this bill lays it out the right way, and whether you really need north of $2 trillion to make this investment happen.
Yeah, and I think that's all. I see this, back as the government or Biden's opening bid. I think it will be whittled down and reshaped both by Republicans and I think by conservative Democrats. As it's debated more publicly. So he's asked for the moon, but I think there'll be and should be and needs to be a real debate about how we focus this and make sure we get the absolute bang for our buck. Because Becky, we're not going to get another chance to do another $2-3 trillion plan. So we really have to get this right.
You just said we're not going to get another chance to do a $2 to $3 trillion plan. How is this going to be whittled down if we're still talking about spending $2 to $3 trillion? And by the way, this is just the down payment on infrastructure. They've got another one waiting in the wings that's going to do all kinds of things, propose things for childcare and far beyond.
Yeah, for my money, that should be down the road right now, because to me, you really want to focus on the truly enabling infrastructure that can launch the private sector, that this has got to be about smart capitalism, not democratic socialism, nothing else. That's my approach. That's what I will be arguing for. I'm not the author of the bill, but that's what my column was trying to advocate. You do that right, Beck. I think this moment has great potential because think about it. Never have more people had access to cheap, high-powered computing through the cloud than they have today. Never have more things been digitized. We digitized like 10 years worth of things in the last year. Never have more people had access to cheap capital, and never have there been more problems to solve. So, the raw material is there for a real explosion of creative destruction if we make sure the government doesn't overwhelm it or doesn't shortchange it. It's got to be done right. And that's what the debate's going to be about. You guys will be out there. I'm going to be out there. The lawmakers are going to be out there. Many people are going to weigh in. And I think we all have to make sure we get this as absolutely right as possible.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.